Hey everybody. So you're about to start the literature review process. Here are a couple of pointers on how to get through this quite major undertaking. Um, the easiest place to start is Google, honestly. Google Scholar. Um, it's a great tool, and it helps helps you to find all kinds of stuff so that you're not just searching within a particular domain's database like EconLit for only econ papers. So let's say that we're looking into telecommunications and economic growth, something that I study. And immediately all kinds of papers come up. So each one of these are usually peer-reviewed scientific papers on a particular topic. What's neat about this isn't just that it spits out thousands and thousands of papers for you to read, but it tells you the bibliographic information for them, and it tells you, more importantly, how many citations that paper has. So in other words, there's all kinds of papers that no one reads, and you shouldn't bother reading them either, but you should know what the major papers are in a field. And this helps you sort through that, because if a paper's been cited a bunch of times, it means that other scientists and researchers think it's like an important paper. So here, for example, we got this paper on telecommunications and economic growth by Data and Agarwal. We like that paper because it was cited 290 times. So 290 other papers thought this work was really important, and they put it in their own papers, in their own literature reviews. So if you're going through your own process, you should make sure that you've read this paper too. Madden and Savage, 114. This one that I'm a particular fan of, Lee, Levendus, and Gutierrez, 152 citations. You know, a decent number. It's not all ranked by citation count. So here, this one by Madden and Savage is 300. So you're going to have to do just a little bit of scrolling. But in general, the more important ones are on the top, and the lesser important ones are way towards the bottom, like with any other Google search. So you should be able to download PDFs for most of these, not all of them. Some you might need to go through a university library or through interlibrary loan to download a copy of that paper. But you should start here, download the papers, and then we'll get to how to properly read a paper in just a second. While I'm here on Google, I want to point out two really interesting links. So let's take this Lee, Levendus, and Gutierrez paper. Let's say you want to have that in your own literature review, and then you got to type out that bibliography. Everyone hates typing bibliographies because every journal has a different format, and you got to know where the commas and stuff go. But if you click on this quotation marks right there, this citation link, you click on that, and then it immediately has the MLA format, the APA format, Chicago, Harvard, a whole bunch of others. And you find out which one your professor wants and just highlight that and copy and paste it into your paper. So you shouldn't have to spend more than a few seconds doing your bibliography for a paper, right? So don't struggle with where to put commas and where the journal volume and number go and how to do that. Google has actually already taken care of that for you. The other really important link here is here, the ones that's cited by. See, when you're reading a paper, you go to the bibliography. That bibliography is everything that those authors have read and thought was relevant. So if we go to the bibliography of this paper, we'll see what I read and thought was important. But what cited by does is it tells you all the people that have read my work after it got published, thought it was important, and put me in their bibliography. So it's kind of like a reverse bibliography, a bibliography that goes forward in time, ever since that paper was written to the present. And you can now also see, what people did with that research. It also exposes a lot of other really interesting papers that might not have come up in the original Google search. So here, this paper by Chavula, Telecom and Economic Growth, particularly in Africa. That paper seems to have been really important. It was cited 132 times. So please click on links like this and just kind of navigate. Eventually, you'll drift far away from the original search terms, so you don't want to navigate too far by clicking too many of these cited by links in succession. But you should definitely see what's been cited that's related to each particular paper. So, you know, the Madden and Savage paper, Data and Agrawal. So people who came in afterwards, this Koutroupis paper, that was cited 619 times. It was even more important than the original Data and Agrawal paper. And this one has the economic impact of internet on growth. So not exactly what I had typed, which was telecom. Internet and telecom are related, but I asked for telecom, Google gave me telecom. And so is one of the neat things about kind of surfing around through Google Scholar is, you know, you click on who cited that other paper, and it might bring up a very closely related search term that you maybe hadn't thought about, and it will expose another whole, you know, range of papers to look at. So use Google Scholar. There is one other tool. It was in fact just invented. Let me pull it up, and we'll reconnect here in a second. So this other search tool is called Connectedpaperscom. It's a brand new tool. So here you would enter the details of a particular paper. Levendis, Lee, Lee, Gutierrez, telecommunications and growth. And there's the paper that I wanted. Let's click on that. So we'll build a graph. And here we get like a visual representation of different clusters of related papers. So here's the original paper. And then connected to this are this Roller and Waverman paper that was hugely influential, 1,000 citations. So you can see that really the paper that we were looking at is kind of the intersection of two different clusters of research that you should be aware of. You got here this broadband and economic growth. There's a Koutroupis paper that we were talking about. So we have telecom and growth here, and then we have African growth, this other cluster of papers. And the connection there is you know, the work that I did with Sang Lee. So this kind of tells you, like, by the size of the circle, what the more cited papers are, the more important ones are. And it helps you visualize the relationship between different streams of research. So read the, you know, the more important ones here from this cluster, read the important ones here from this other cluster. So you get the bibliographic information for that. You go back to Google Scholar and see if you can download a PDF copy of that. Now, once you've got your whole list of documents, these papers that you need to read, then we got to figure out a way to read them. And I got to tell you, that's its own skill. So, so check out the next video, and I'll show you how to read through a whole stack of like research papers.